There's many different ways that you can hold your sticks. 2-finger fulcrum. Is it a triangle fulcrum? Is it a rear fulcrum? Playing with a flat palm, so a German grip? Am I playing with a slight tilt, so an American? Am I playing with my thumb on top, so a French? But there's also different drivers of motion. So you can use arm, you can use wrist, you can use rotations, like rotary motions, or you can use finger, or some kind of combination of all those different things. The way that I typically play is with a wrist-derived motion. My goal is to stay as relaxed as possible so my wrist can be nice and floppy when I'm playing and make it move up and down. If I squeeze my fingers too much, it makes it so that I can't bend my wrist. So for me, I don't use fingers. I focus on, again, a nice, floppy, relaxed wrist. By squeezing, it makes it so that this doesn't bend, so you can't actually get that nice, relaxed motion. Instead of just using straight up and down motion with the wrist, I apply a little bit of a rotation to my wrist motion to give it a little extra velocity, makes it so that I can play faster, more power, etc. So this little rotation is a subtle amount of rotation and is not the primary driver. It is in conjunction with what is happening with my wrist moving up and down, so that happens simultaneously. I'm not playing with a flat, straight up and down motion like this, or like knocking on a door, etc. Okay, this is a wrist-based approach that you can use, but I'm adding in a little bit of rotation in there. It's not full-on rotation, like a rotary French motion or something like that. This part of the wrist goes up, this part of the wrist goes down. If we go from the top-down angle, this part of the hand is going to move down that way when I'm doing this. So as opposed to a straight up and down knocking motion like this, where the entire hand is moving up or down simultaneously, and the wrist is bending to move up or down. What I'm doing is this part of the wrist goes down while this part of the wrist goes up. This little rotation that I'm adding into a legato motion, accent tap, whatever, gives it a little bit of an extra oomph to it, as opposed to just doing this motion with the wrist. So the reason why I'm doing this again is to work on the velocity and make it so that it's a little bit louder, a little more power behind it, etc. Because my background's in rudimental percussion, that is something that I want to focus on, is that velocity while playing nice and relaxed while doing this. My fingers when I'm doing this are opening and closing in terms of the amount of space that it's providing, but it's not an active driver like this. So if I want more rebound, I allow more space with my fingers. If I want less rebound, I allow less space with my fingers by closing without squeezing. So it's like if you were to try and bounce a ball in a large box, if you have a little bouncy ball, it's going to bounce all around. But if you try and bounce a ball that has a box that holds it perfectly, it's like touching every single side of it, it's not going to be able to move anywhere. It might look like my fingers are moving, it's just opening and closing, it's not actually driving it. The motion that I'm using looks like this from above. So it's not a straight up and down motion like this, like if I were doing German approach, and it's not a full-on rotary French motion like this, if I were to play like that, okay? It's a combination of the two. Now, the way that I learned this was from a professor who is working with me on timpani. And so he's teaching me different types of rotary motions for timpani strokes, which is one of the ways that you can play. And so he started with me doing this, showing that you can get a lot of power using this kind of motion if you're playing with the timpani, holding your sticks and going like this. This did not feel good. This was just a temporary thing so he could demonstrate how to be able to develop power. And over time, over like a couple months, we slowly rotated to a rotary French motion where it was playing with the rotation like this, but also being able to play with like a finger French if I needed to for some lighter timpani strokes and be able to come off the head, etc. So this gave me more power by rotating, and then this allowed me to have a lighter touch. So it expanded my dynamic expressiveness, etc. on timpani by being able to switch between the different drivers of the motion. But because I learned that, I was like, okay, well, this is interesting that it's giving me more power by adding this rotation. What would happen if I were to apply that to my normal legato motions, etc., while playing with wrist-based motion and staying nice and relaxed? So by adding in that little bit of rotation where, again, this part of the wrist goes down, this part of the wrist goes up, and it's kind of like moving in that direction in conjunction with the legato motions, made it so that I could play faster and with more volume. When working on this, there's many different ways that you can actually practice doing this. I'm not trying to go for an approach where it's just like all fast singles or something like that. I'm not a metal drummer that just focuses on one thing. I want versatility with what I'm playing because I'm a percussionist who plays rudimental and concert percussion primarily and is learning drum kit for fun. For me, I'm not just focusing on speed. I want to be able to play accent taps. I want to be able to play different dynamics. I want to be able to play slow, be able to play fast, etc. So I'm not going with 100% rotary twitch motion that you'll see some people teach, where they'll teach where you put your fingers together like this and you're just doing a rotation the entire time. I don't want that. I'm not going for that twitchy approach. Nothing against that. That allows you to do some cool things, but it doesn't have the versatility, the application, the expressiveness that I'm looking for whenever I'm like playing percussion stuff in particular. I want to be able to expand what I can play rather than restrict myself to what I can play by only being able to do like one thing really well. I want to be able to do many things well. On my home tab of YouTube, there are some exercises that you can use to be able to practice this kind of motion. In the technique section in particular, if you click and expand, it shows you a bunch of different playlists in here. One of the ones that you can take a look at is the endurance and speed exercises. Inside of here are a ton of exercises that can help you to be able to practice these kinds of motions. Start off slow so you can get used to that like rotation with the wrist bend while doing this, with something like a pyramid exercise. So pyramid exercise is going to start with alternating, and then you just double the amount of strokes that you do on each hand. So 2 notes, 4 notes, 8, 16, etc., all the way through this. So this was one of the ways that I worked on developing this. It was just starting off nice and slow and then gradually speeding up and really focusing on how my wrist was moving in terms of doing the up and down motion with the rotary motion going on simultaneously. Another way that you can work on this is switching between different types of strokes. So for example, if you do some of the exercises that are a little bit further down for single doubles, where you're switching back and forth between single strokes and double strokes, this is another great way that you can work on this technique. In the technique section, there's also the accent tap exercises. So one of the ways that you can work on this is to also work on 2 height systems. Toward the bottom of this playlist, there are some relaxer exercises, relaxing your taps as well as relaxing your accents. We have it so that we're starting off with 3-inch taps. Then we're playing a 4-inch accent with a 3-inch tap. So it's like a little emphasis. So you're just playing a little bit of a, what might be called an agogic accent. It's just a little emphasis. And then we move to 6 in 3, 9 in 3, 12 in 3, and then it just goes back down. So 9 inches, 3-inch taps, 6 inches, 3-inch taps, 4 inches, 3-inch taps, and 3-inch taps, etc. So exercises like this can help you to be able to work on that combo motion of wrist movement up and down with the rotary motion while you're working on accent taps to be able to play something like this. And by gradually raising and lowering the accents, or the opposite of this, which is the accent relaxer, where you start at accents and you lower your taps gradually and then eventually bring them back up, this makes it so that you can focus on staying relaxed while doing this. So that's a very quick overview of like how I do this combo of wrist up and down with rotary motion in conjunction with each other, working simultaneously to make it so that I get a little bit more velocity and staying nice and relaxed again with my hands. So again, this part of the wrist goes up, this part of the wrist goes down, and it's almost moving as if it's going like in that direction in terms of where the wrist, or the hand is kind of like knocking down while doing this. You can find literally thousands of hours of free drumming play-alongs and drumming tips in the link at the top of the description, or by going into my home tab of YouTube.